Hey folks, it's Cornholio. As promised, I was gonna make a follow-up video on the Remington 1100 trigger group assembly. Got it right here, you can see it. It's kind of tough because of where I cannot get the camera over here, so I may take that camera and angle it down if I have to put this in a vise, okay? All right, as you can see on this one, I have put on Dave's Metalworks speed loader, and it works really good. When you have to go load shells up in it, you hit that, that makes it ride up, other than your little dog, that little release. All right, but this right here, this will not come up. It will not come up unless this is released. That's your shell carrier release, okay? I guess that's what they call it. That's what I always called it for 40 something years. Let's put him on safety so I don't, let's go ahead and take this thing down so I don't have the hammer flying up and hitting me. All right, taking the hammer out, we got the hammer spring. Yeah, I'm not keep looking up because I have a camera above my head. We're gonna just put something in there, metal, pull that back, pull that spring out right there, okay? That is your trigger spring. And I'm gonna stick him in there with my Go Juice. All right, so we've taken the tension off of the trigger, pull that back. Now getting that out, we can't, okay. All right, let's go ahead and start taking this thing apart so we can see where we're at. You guys wanna see this stuff. Take these D-rings right here. I'm gonna take that D-ring, just flip it over, it comes right off. That is just the simplest thing on the planet. Now we've got to get all of this. Our carrier dog spring here is under tension. The hammer spring here is captured, but it is under tension. We're gonna push this out. Now you can use a, whatever you want to use to push it out. A number 2 screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver works good, or a Torx hammer, a Torx bit. I think it was a 20-bit Torx that I had, like a screwdriver. It fit in there really good. This is gonna be fine. We're just gonna push this out, okay? Push that pin out, grab it. I'm keeping thumb pressure on this right in here and all of this so it doesn't come flying out in my face. And he's sticking now. And I will get that other thing out in a minute. Helps it come out easier. He doesn't want to come out. Just grab a little pair of pliers and give him a little boost. All right, that comes out. That's the this little sleeve with the 2 D-rings on them is what your pins go through that hold the hold everything into the gun, the shotgun. The 2 pins, one smaller on the front and bigger on the back. Okay, now that we got that up, I'll slowly start lifting up. Our carrier dog here is under spring tension. I've got him off of that. We'll leave him right there because he looks very similar to the one down here we're going to be taking off. And all that just lifts off. Now, this is under tension with a little U spring right here. It's kind of, hope you can see the color of it. See it right here? This little bronze looking spring here. It's a U spring, it goes like that. Hinge pin holds it in place. And you can see when it goes up, these 2 little catches and this little dog ear right here. You can see that little silver dog ear. I'm gonna point to it right here. All right. I don't know if my auto focusing is working or not. Let me touch that. Is it gonna focus? No, it's trying to focus on something else. All right, let's do this again. All right, there is a little dog ear right here. That, when you push up to load a shotgun shell in, it pushes that dog ear, and that dog ear pushes right here on this shiny parts. And what that does is it pushes that and releases it and lets it all go up. Lets the whole mechanism go up like that. Allowing you to put a shell in. All right, now to get the hammer, and I'm not taking the trigger out, I did it on the last video. To get this out, the hammer spring you can bend this over, it'll come out. I wouldn't recommend that because you don't want to get it out of timing. But you can see it's captured by this right here, this plate, which also pushes up your trigger and resets your trigger. This pin that goes through here is mushroomed over. You can't really take that out, okay? You just won't do it. And I'm on auto, so it ought to be auto. Well, I'm too close, so this has X amount of feet that you can get it to autofocus on. So we'll get it back to focus right down here. Anyway, you can't take that out, okay? Because this is peened over. And I mean, you could push it in there and that would probably flatten out with a good couple of whacks. But why do you want to do that and risk it, okay? There's no need to get in here and do anything with this. You can drop squirts of oil down in that hole and oil your spring. But anyway, this little plunger right here is the same kind of plunger as this one. But it's recessed with a little, I don't know, little button on the tip of it, and it has a hole in it too where you can get oil down in there. All right, it's recessed, okay, and it's held in by this. It's not under, well, it is under a lot of pressure, but it's held in by this release lever here. You'll see some of these will be bent right here. Some of them are straight. I don't know why. They're made like 27 different things. But you need a very tiny little punch, and I think that's not it. Here it is. This is a 1/8 inch punch. And you're gonna slowly punch this out, this little hinge pin, and all this comes out. Now, mind you how it's oriented. You got the top, these two fingers are sticking towards the front of the gun, okay? So when you're gonna put it back in, you put it back in the right way. And there's two hinges right here, and that little plunger with a spring underneath it, all right? Now, to get that out, I pretty much gotta have a vise. Oh, getting it out is not a problem, putting it back in is a problem. So let's do him this way. Yeah. Oh, we're on the camera. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna slowly tap down, and you'll see it go through. And it'll tap that little teeny tiny hinge pin out. These do get bent sometimes. The ones that get bent the worst are these here on the shell carrier. That one right there will get bent really bad up, and you have to oil them up. But I've seen a lot of these things just bent up, and this thing's all messed up. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna hold it now. Let me get that out of the way. That's the carrier dog. All right. Slowly gonna pull. I'm gonna go ahead and well, he's already trying to come out because it's a smaller pin. Push that in there. Lift him up and hold that. And I'm going to slowly pull this out. Okay, that comes off. And there's your other hinge pin. And is that dirt in there? Yeah, it might be a little dirt in there. I usually keep these things well lubed and oiled, but you never know what they snag and catch from years. All right, there he is. He's off. See that? Yep. And he goes back down here. You can get a Q-tip down there and clean it, which I've already done this one a few months back when I took it off. All right, getting this thing back in. This is going to be so much fun. Ta-da. Get my pin started, my little punch pin. We'll drop this back down in here, the spring and the plunger. Drop them back down there, we'll be stiff. Orient our tabs on the top towards the front. And all you can do is lay them on there and start pushing. Oh, I don't want to go. That's where I need my vise, but I can't get my vise into video. Get them in. There we go. Nope, missed it. Jeez, yeah, it's got to go way down in there. As you can see, you need about 3 or 4 hands and a couple of extra fingers. I got them in the vise. It is easier. All right, I think I slipped. It keeps slipping off. I need my rubber mat. That'll stop slipping. Okay. You keep it slipping on that. Let's see if this will help it from slipping so much. I said in the other video I keep whistling the Alabama fight song because they're playing Georgia tonight in the national championship. And I have been so sick. I've got so much medicine in me right now, it's not even funny. This is why you don't take these off very often. Got him. Got him captured. We'll take the roll pin. Am I still in view? Yep. We'll start him on this side. See if I can get him captured through the second one. Just gotta kind of push it and wiggle it. There he goes. And tap, tap, tap. Till he catches. All right, got him. So you see, it's a pain in the booty to get that captured and done, but it goes back in. Look him on the other camera here. It goes in. All right. All right, let's go ahead and put him back together. Man. Carrier dog spring and plunger in. I'm going to go ahead and put the trigger spring, trigger return spring back in to hold pressure on the sear. Just get them up in there and get some kind of punch or anything that you can get. Sometimes I've put them on my fingers before. Lay on those 2 little hooks and boom, he's on. And that pulls that back as such. Well, everything else in conjunction. But you know what? I'm gonna leave that off till I get that on there. Just pull that back. All right, all of this stuff. Gonna link them all up. We're gonna put this back up in here. Now we've got to get our plunger up on top of that. This down, all of that. Carrier dog spring, get in there, there he is. Okay, now we've got that lined up. Let's get our pin back through. There. All right, so now you see that pin? You see how he's up in here? That has to be up under all this stuff for this to go in right. He goes up. It will not go up like that when you just pull up on that. I'm gonna get my face in there. You won't pull up, but when you press that, it does. And you can see that little dog ear that I was telling you about earlier, right here on this camera. That dog ear presses up against that. And that unlocks your latch to go up, your shell carrier to go up and be able to be loaded. Okay, now then we have our D-ring. Where's the bottom? There's the bottom. There's notches cut in these rings. You can see them right here. It's that notch cut. It's not on the top, it's just on that one spot. There's a notch cut, and that's where the bottom, the flat part of the D is going to go on the D-ring. You lay it in there and just push it over, and he's in. That one's in. This top one here, ooh, that obviously come out and went flying somewhere a while ago. Might be in the box. Might have came out in the box I've been storing it in too. Or it could be on the floor somewhere. Let me look in the box, see if I left it in here. There is a piece there. It's another D-ring. I don't see him. Obviously he's come out and went flying somewhere. I'll look him up later. Might be on the floor, might be in all of my stuff, but there's another sleeve, and it's the trigger stop. I know it's out here somewhere. Oh, there it is. This is a bigger one. All right. Now if you'll see me put some white back on there where you can see this better. Your trigger stop only has one D-ring. It's a bigger one too. All right. The same thing, you pull that over, just grab it, pull it, it comes right off. And it lay it into the slot and just push him over. And your D-ring is in place. And your pins that go through and hold your trigger group into the shotgun, that's what these go through. This only goes one way. See how flat that surface is? So it only can go in this way. All right, and to pull my trigger. All right, so when you do pull the trigger, and we're on safety. When you go to pull the trigger, you see how the trigger moves forward? It hits on that. That's your trigger stop bar. Okay. All right, now then, we can put our trigger spring back in, set him on the back of that. Just take your fingers and pull him down and catch him on that. So now your trigger return goes back from that spring. All right. Lock our hammer down, test it. Oh, yep, it works. Now, as I stated before in another video, 870s, 1100s, a lot of your different shotguns, your safety only stops the trigger from moving. That's all it does. It will not lock the sear forward against the hammer so that the hammer cannot be released. I can reach in here with my finger and pull back and that hammer fires. And I'm on safety. The trigger can't be pulled. So if you're carrying your shotgun in the woods with a live round in the chamber and you drop it on the butt because you tripped and fell or whatever, it could be enough to pull the sear back. Watch. Pull the sear back with my finger and it'll fire. Okay? That's why you never carry a shotgun with a live round in the chamber while you're walking through the woods with the safety on. It's just a trigger stop. It doesn't lock this internal mechanisms up. A hard enough jolt down can make that sear come back, and it's a minute little amount that it's grabbing on there. That little piece of metal is grabbing on, and sure, it'll fire. There we go, boom. See how much we got to grab right there? That's not much. On the bottom of the sear, you can't see it. You can't take the sear out unless you really punch some stuff out and damage some bevels. So, never carry a shotgun with a live round in the chamber. That's a safety tip for the day. All right, folks, again, I hope that helps you out and you see how to put these things back together for severe, detailed cleaning. Again, Remington does not recommend that you do anything to this trigger group except clean it, oil it, stuff like that. No maintenance, no working, no trying to lighten your hammer. And I know there are some places you can send these off to, these tactical cool places, and they will work on your hammer, and trigger and sear and everything, and lighten this thing down. They'll put a heavier trigger return spring in right here. Supposed to lighten the trigger pull, yet still give you plenty of hammer fire so there's no light strikes. but it'll reduce 8 or 9 pound trigger down to 3 or 4 pounds. And I don't know why you would want that on a defensive shotgun. I don't see it for hunting shotguns and stuff. I see it for defensive shotguns. So let's just pull this thing and see what kind of trigger pull we get. I'm gonna hold my finger over that, and I'm gonna hold the whole bundle up here so it don't slap me. All right, let's see what our trigger pull is on this thing from factory. It's a 3 pound trigger on this. This is a hunting shotgun. But this thing probably has had 50, 60,000 rounds through it over the years. This is one off of 12 gauge. Well, this is one off 20 gauge. I had, and when I bought that 20 gauge, it was in rough shape. It looked like that thing had seen decades in the back of a truck. It worked. I took it apart and fixed it, and had to change the trigger out here because one of the tangs on the top of the trigger was broken. A bunch, I can't remember now what I did to it. Stuff in the bolt, your charge channel detent was messed up. The gas seals and rings and everything were installed wrong, and the gas seal was pretty dry. So you've seen the video I made on this thing. This was the original one trigger that come out of that. Okay, I put the Dave's Metalwork on it because I wanted it easier to come up and be able to load. And the one thing I will tell you though, that you gotta be careful for, and you do have to do some fitting to get these Daves to work, is that once the bolt is locked back, this is also your bolt release, okay? And if you ain't got this thing filed down, that little dog ear I was telling you about that pushes up against the return, if you ain't got that filed down just enough, just as soon as you even breathe on this thing, your bolt comes flying closed. So you will have to kind of tinker and play with it and file a little bit off of that little dog ear that I was showing you, which is actually a complete part. It's connected to this, to the carrier, the speed loader. But yeah, the first time I put it in there, I hadn't filed off enough material, and I barely just touched this thing and the bolt come flying for us. I was looking, I had my finger in there, it would have tore my finger up. So trial and error, if you're gonna put one of these Dave's Metalwork, it's not hard to do. You are going to have to ream out the hole in the carrier that the little silver or black replacement that you're replacing this with, that little tang, you're gonna have to ream this hole out so that this thing will fit up in there, because these two tabs on here won't fit up in a standard carrier. And I filed on mine and got it right. Reed put a little touch-up blue on there and whatnot, and it's working good. This thing is an old and really wore out trigger group that was brought back to life with a few parts and a little tinkering. There's some sharp edges on it here and there you gotta be careful for. I guess that's about it. Y'all heard me ramble on long enough. Anyway, I love making these videos. I hope these videos help you out if you're needing to get things done. It's not my intent to turn anyone into a gunsmith. But this is simple. This is not, it's modifying, yes, it is, okay? But it's not making the gun dangerous or more lethal or anything like that. It's simply, this Dave's Metalwork simply replaces that little tab that you have to push in order for this to go up, in order for you to be able to load rounds into the shotgun, okay? That's all it's done. Never, ever want to recommend anyone trying to take the sear off or the hammer off and filing the angles down different, trying to get you a lighter trigger pull. Don't do that. These things are 4 or 5 pounds from the factory, and after years of use, like mine's 3 pounds, okay? That's plenty enough for hunting. If you need anything lighter than that for a defensive shotgun, you're in the wrong business. You don't need to make a defensive shotgun 3 pounds like this one is, okay? And I wouldn't carry this in any kind of defensive. Matter of fact, my 20 gauge now is set up as a defensive shotgun, but I have a complete new trigger housing put in it, and it's about 5 pounds on that one. I like 4 pound triggers on most of my hunting shotguns and my trap guns and stuff like that. I do not like a light trigger pull on any defensive shotgun. It's just not safe. You get one of those butt pucker moments, and that finger, you lose fine motor skills, and everything is gross motor skills, and it's easy to pull them triggers and knock them off and shoot when you didn't really want to shoot. So, all right guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. God bless America. Cornholio out.